Hello, I survived E3 2018. I'm back, and this is the first Gaming Shogun TV segment post E3. And we figured we'd start it off with a bang with our game of the show, Cyberpunk 2077. Now, they weren't showing any gameplay just on the floor. They weren't showing any gameplay really in their trailer. The trailer they showed in the Microsoft press conference is kind of like the one last thing of the conference itself was done in game engine, but it wasn't really gameplay. However, we were lucky enough to get one of the appointments to their off-floor meeting room. In that meeting room, they were showing an hour-long gameplay session where people were going to be ushered in. The developer was going to be standing there narrating what the other developer was going to be doing as he actually controlled the game. So we ended up getting this appointment. We're very excited about it. So got to their meeting room early, and it was just absolute chaos. People were coming and going, trying to talk their way in, saying they had an appointment when they didn't. There was a huge standby line for people who just didn't show up in the normal appointment, which I don't know why you wouldn't. The thing was such a sought after E3 thing to go see. It was extremely limited, so we feel ourselves very fortunate to get the chance to go see it. Anyway, here's some pictures of their booth and just surrounding the booth stuff. Here's two characters they had from the game, kind of in cosplay. The main character is named V, and it could be male or female. These were their two actors they had portraying V in two looks. This is part of the standby line of gamers just hoping beyond hope to get in. I don't think any of these people did, just because of how sought after the whole thing was. There's a Cyberpunk 2077 logo area they had kind of set up, kind of a step and repeat for celebrities that would come in. And then inside the booth, they had a fictional bar set up called the Atlantis. And the Atlantis had various alcohols, in-game universe alcohol stuff, a huge projection screen where it was kind of like you were in a skyscraper bar overlooking Night City, the location where the game takes place. And just really nice, lots of air conditioning, and if you've ever been to E3 before, you know air conditioning is at a premium because of how scarce it is with all the body heat. So it was kind of nice to go in there and just kind of sit down for a little bit right before a demo started. Once the demo actually started, we were ushered into the theater that they had set up, and we started seeing the character creation of the game. And the character creation is interesting, and I think that if you are a fan of like older school RPGs where you're used to a lot of character customization, I think you're going to be very happy. Not only can V be male or female, but you can also select like their background, where they hail from, what their overall skill set is more like. Are they net runners? Are they techies? Are they soldiers? And one of the other things is, even though you choose that as their background skill set, the game is all about choice, player choice. So you can custom mix and match your skills as you like. So don't feel like you're locked into it. So after the character creation, they showed us the first mission of their demo, and it was basically you and your partner Jackie, this big old cyberpunked up dude who's gonna just kind of support you in this endeavor. You're supposed to go in and rescue this person who had been abducted by these hackers, and these hackers aren't just hackers in the the way we think of hackers. These hackers actually steal people, knock them out, and then take vital cybernetics out of their bodies and sell them without any regard for what actually happens to the person. So we got into this hacker headquarters, and it's just a mess. There's viscera all over the place because it's pretty much just like a body farm. They just cut these people up without any inclinations of what they're actually doing. So got the girl out of there, and she had a very peculiar cybernetic implant that was that kind of like as an automated "I've fallen and I can't get up" help kind of a thing. So unfortunately, it was being hacked by this group, though, so we were able to like cybernetically unhack the device, and then in just, I don't know, a few minutes, a trauma team was deployed automatically by this device, which is kind of cool. And this trauma team isn't like any EMTs. They're not like any EMTs I've ever seen. These guys arrived in like an armored hover vehicle, and they all had automatic weapons, and whoever this person was, and we don't know too much about it just from the scope of what we saw in the demo. I'm sure she's more important to the story at large, but she had a very, very hefty medical insurance on her that she was able to warrant such a response by this EMT team. And they got her, and they took her away, and they saved her, I guess. After the initial mission, we were taken to V's apartment, which, in the daytime, Night City kind of has almost a Fifth Element vibe to it. At nighttime, it's a little more Blade Runner, so that's kind of how I describe it. The highways in the sky are very Fifth Element-esque. So starting in that apartment, she gets a call by her partner saying that they've got a lead on a really big upcoming mission, and they're supposed to meet this heavy duty player. Before that, though, V goes and gets updated because she's got enough credits now for an ocular implant. So we got to see some of the upgrade system in the game, which was really interesting and extremely visceral. You go to this, what do they call him? They called him a Ripper Doc. And he knocks you out, and he's going to give you this ocular implant. So he's got this thing that like knocks you out like with an IV in your arm. And this he says, okay, you're going to go to sleep now. Next thing you know, everything goes black, and this thing is coming out of your vision. And it's a really cool way to show how the future deals with like cybernetic upgrades. Isn't just clicking a button to upgrade. There's a biological procedure that has to be done to make that happen. So that was kind of cool, and I'm excited to see what other kind of things they're gonna do, depending on what it was. This was just your eye. But after that, we ended up seeing a little more of the city itself. V got out of her apartment, walked around a little bit. The city is just sprawling. It's kind of like a Judge Dredd mega city. Just people all over the place. Beautiful landscape and urban jungle setting, if you will. After that, she met up with this big player named Dexter Deshawn, who is this, what do they call him? He's a fixer, and he basically can deal with all sorts of illegal contracts and make things happen. And he wants to hire you for a mission, but before that, he's going to have to test you. And, you have this dialogue tree which kind of adapts based on your background, how people view you, what factions you work with. And our RV was a little bit, was a little more on the... not subservient side, but on the acquiescing side, so she didn't really like fight the fact that she needed to be tested. There was another skill set that was like, I don't like the sound of this, I'm not going to get tested. But RV went along with it, and so we were supposed to go and buy this bot from this tech head that was able to make this really cool like spider bot, and Dexter Deshawn wanted us to go buy him. But on the way there, we were intercepted by this other group called Militech, and Militech is this mega corporation that deals kind of like with hardcore military hardware, hence the name Militech. And we kind of got in an altercation with one of their agents, this Meredith Stout, and it ended up being this really interesting choice of what faction we wanted to help on this mission, because even though we had this test from Dexter Deshawn to go to this area, we ended up merging it with this request from Meredith Stout to not kill us, and we're going to go get this guy for her. But it was at the same place, so we had this interesting choice of who we were actually going to help. Were we going to turn our backs on both of them and help the guy we were supposed to, number one, take out, but also the bot we were supposed to buy from him? Or were we going to help one of the players that we had already worked with? So one of the things that the developers really stressed was that the demo we saw wasn't some smoke and mirrors level they made just for E3. This was actually a build of the game. The game is using the same engine as The Witcher 3 did, just with some updates and whatnot, and it looks absolutely incredible. It's a beautiful game, an incredible open world. I guess the whole city changes when nighttime hits, because the people who more come out to live their lives at that point come out. There's just so much you can do in the game. I guess your apartment, we didn't get to see too much of like where else she lived, but her apartment itself is part of like this huge multi-level structure, kind of like Judge Dredd and their city buildings, if you will. And each one of those floors has its own story, its own culture, different things to go do. So the other thing that we didn't actually get to see too much of, we saw a little bit of it, was that you can get around the city by a number of conveyances, whether it be train, if you will, the futuristic version of a train, flying vehicles, land vehicles, and there's even vehicular combat in certain situations. There's a ton of modifications to weapons. Heck, your whole body becomes a weapon at some point. If you remember the trailer that they released last year, or maybe it was the year before that, it's been a while, there was a woman in her underwear who had these like arm blades that came out, and she was just kind of sitting there looking off into the distance. That's just one of the number of kind of melee focused modifications that you can do. It's pretty outstanding. I'm still kind of trying to wrap my head around all the cool stuff I saw in that demo. So that just about wraps up our first post E3 video. Cyberpunk 2077 is looking outstanding, and it's in development now. I can't wait to see more about the game. I can't wait to actually get a hands-on demo of the game. It looks so good. In any case, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button below. If you disliked it, hit the dislike button, but do us a favor and leave us a comment and tell us why. It's important that this is content you're going to get something out of. And if we missed the mark in some way, if we didn't provide you with something that you would have rather seen, let us know. We can try to take that into consideration. As always, you can find us at the social media links below and at gamingshogun.com. That's the main website where we post all of our reviews and stuff. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.